I want to thank all Melburnians, all Victorians for your patience, and those who live in the border towns along the New South Wales-Victoria border. I want to thank you for your patience in managing what has, I'm sure, been a very disruptive last few days. What we're calling for across Victoria, particularly in Melbourne, but along those border town areas as well, is continuing patience as issues settle in terms of the arrangements that are in place for movement of people necessarily across those borders, dealing with freight movements, things of that nature. I've spoken to the Victorian Premier again today. Around about 25,000 on average tests are being done every day in Victoria, and particularly obviously in those key areas in Melbourne. That is an industrial scale of testing, which is an essential part of dealing with the outbreak in Victoria. And the Premier obviously make further comments today about the situation as it sits presently. But I do want to thank Victorians for how they're responding and thank them for their continued patience. They know the drill. We all know the drill when it comes to social distancing, making sure we wash our hands and download the COVID Safe app and all of the necessary parts of staying safe, COVID safe, in the community. And I'd say more broadly across the country that we must guard against complacency, that we must continue to follow those social distancing protocols all around Australia, even in states or territories where the number of cases is effectively zero. Please don't think that any of the states or territories are immune. And if there were to be issues that presented in any of those states and territories, the best defence that we have, especially in the first instance, is that all citizens, all residents right across the country are continuing to practice the appropriate social distancing and other measures. We've seen the images in many parts of the country where I think we are seeing some of that lax, and it's important, and because we do not want to see the situation in Victoria repeated in any other part of the country. The National Cabinet will meet tomorrow and obviously go over these issues once again. And so I'd thank all of those, particularly around border towns, as the New South Wales Premier has been stressing today to stay away from those border towns if that is something you can do, and exercise that discretion, exercise that judgment. That would include for family gatherings or things of that nature. I think it will assist everybody else who's involved in managing the border there. If they don't have an additional pressure or additional demand on them, that will certainly help them do their job, and it will make the circumstances for those in those border towns less stressing, although no doubt it will continue to be stressing for some days yet. So a thank you again to everyone in Victoria, and a reminder to everyone else around the country against complacency, to stay on our guard, to be patient and to be conscientious.